What's going on, guys? So in this video I'll be unboxing the Nakamichi Shockwafe 7.2.4 soundbar surround system, and then over the next few weeks I'll actually be testing the system out, and I'll be doing a review and leaving that on my channel coming up soon. Although there's a good chance you never heard of them, Nakamichi is a company that has actually been around since 1948. They started out as a research and development firm in electronics and optics, but later on became known as a manufacturer of audio products, and nowadays they just focus on soundbars. But from what I've heard, their soundbars are actually pretty dang good. So soundbars were originally intended as an easy way to get quality audio. Basically, you'd put this very long speaker under your TV, and it would act as a center speaker and your side speakers, and it's basically all in one, and it's cheap. Eventually, companies added subwoofers to the mix, which ended up with sound that's much better than TV audio, but still not quite up to par with a full-fledged surround sound system. So this is where Nakamichi's soundbar surround sound system comes into play. Since they have additional speakers on top of the soundbar, they can give a full-blown home theater system a run for their money. They come in a variety of configurations, but I have the 7.2.4. So the 7 means there are 7 channels: the center, the front left, and the front right, and 4 surround channels. The 2 means there are 2 subwoofers, and in this case they're both 8-inch subwoofers. And the 4 means there are 4 height channels. So the height channels are useful for Dolby Atmos and DTS:X, which is a sound format that gives you sound from above. So these effects are best with things like rain, helicopters, basically anything that's flying over your head. Now the nice thing about this Nakamichi system though is that you don't actually have to mount speakers to your ceiling and run wires up there, because Nakamichi uses the existing speakers in the soundbar and the rear speakers together with their SSC technology that is able to project sound upwards, so that basically you can hear whatever sound is on top of you. So to create the 7.2.4 surround sound, Nakamichi includes a soundbar, 2 wireless subwoofers. Notice I said wireless, which is something I'm pretty excited about. And then there's 2 two-way rear speakers. The rear speakers connect up to the wireless subwoofers, making them about as wireless as you can get. The soundbar system I have here retails for $999, but there's actually a few different configurations you can buy if you want to buy something a little bit less, a little bit more. Go ahead and check out the link in the description, and you can check them out. And just in case you're wondering, the system does support 4K HDR, Dolby Vision, Dolby Atmos, and DTS:X. So now that I've given you probably too much background, let's go ahead and unbox this soundbar and get into this bad boy. So as you can see, this box is huge. I mean, I'm about 6 feet tall, and if I were to lay down next to it, it'd probably be about as long as me. I think the box weighs about 70 pounds. I saw that somewhere. I can't find that weight anymore, but I'm pretty sure it's about 70 pounds. So if possible, definitely make sure you have someone to help you unbox it, and lift it up and turn it to the side, that sort of thing. So now, as you can see, once you open it up, there's a very large quick start guide right on top. And this guide is actually a pretty useful quick reference guide. I just used it a few days ago when I set up my system, and the top of the guide gives you some tips, while the back of it gives you an actual setup guide. So it's got like steps 1, 2, 3, 4, that sort of thing. It's pretty straightforward to set up a surround sound system. But the pictures and the steps are definitely helpful if you don't know where to place your speakers. And I definitely recommend taking a look at the quick setup guide if you do buy this thing. And the last couple of steps get pretty in-depth and kind of give you some detail on your soundbar and TV settings. So now that we have this thing sliced open and the quick start guide out of the way, you can see that this thing is actually packaged up pretty well. I use lots of molded foam, and so the components aren't going anywhere, which is obviously a good thing. So once we take off the top foam piece, we've got a layer of components on the top. So we have the soundbar, which I don't know if I mentioned it yet, but it's 45 inches long, which is pretty long, but that's a good thing. It gives us more, basically more separation to the left and right for a wider sound stage. And then we also have the surround sound speakers. We have the remote and a bunch of other wires and mounting components that I'll get into later. Now once we take all these pieces off the top layer, we've got the big boy subwoofers on the bottom. Now the subwoofers aren't huge, they're just 8 inches, but having 2 of them actually makes a huge difference in your sound stage. And it's really a game changer to hear rumbling from both sides of you when you're sitting on the couch in the middle of these 2 subwoofers. And these things are pretty large, so definitely be careful taking them out of the box so you don't throw out your back or anything like that. So now that we've got everything unboxed, let's go ahead and take a closer look at all the components that are actually in the box. So first of all, you have the remote, which is just a pretty standard remote. Got your volume, your input changer, and just some other standard settings that are usually on any kind of remote. So next up we have a power cord, and this power cord plugs into one of your subwoofers. And we also have another power cord up next, which also plugs into another subwoofer. So you have your left subwoofer and your right subwoofer. So you have 2 power cords, one for each. And then now we have another power related component. We got our power brick, and this is going to actually plug into your soundbar itself. And then you also have another power cable that plugs into that power brick, which basically completes the circuit and provides power to your soundbar. And then here we have an HDMI cord, pretty straightforward. You can use this to plug into from your soundbar to your TV. And right here we got our optical cable. This is just another option for getting sound to your soundbar. You probably won't need it, but just in case you do, here it is. And of course, got an auxiliary cable in case you need it, in case you need to provide sound to your soundbar via auxiliary cable. Plug it into your phone or something. You probably won't need it nowadays. Most people use Bluetooth, but it's here just in case. And here's a couple batteries that I probably should have shown you earlier, but those go on the remote. And then this package of stuff is actually for mounting your soundbar and your surround sound speakers. So it's kind of just a hardware kit, which is nice to have. And then this is one of your cables that plugs in from your wireless subwoofer to your rear speaker to basically essentially make your rear speaker wireless. And this is just for the other one. I don't remember which one is if white is left or white is right, but it tells you that in the package. So now that we've seen all the nitty-gritty components, kind of the dirty details, let's go ahead and get into the actual speakers. So here we have our rear speakers, and as you can see, they look like pretty standard rear speakers. I mean most rear speakers you see are fairly small, fairly compact, and just look like a normal speaker. They are a little bit large and kind of weird shaped for a rear speaker, but they're not huge or anything. And once you set them up correctly, they're good to go. And the reason they have this weird shape is because you can actually set them up vertically like a normal rear speaker, or you can set them up horizontally as up-firing speakers. And as you can see, there's one port in the back where you plug in the wire from the subwoofer to the speaker. And there's actually a couple of holes that are for mounting the speaker. You can use these holes to mount to a speaker stand or mount to your wall. Basically, whatever you want to do. You can kind of get creative with it if you want to. And then here's our second speaker. Basically the same deal here. Just one is for the left and one is for the right. Now, of course, we have the main attraction here, which is the sound bar. This is basically what makes everything work. This is where your sound comes in, your video comes in, and distributes everything. So as I mentioned earlier, the sound bar is 45 inches long, which is it's pretty long, but it's nothing crazy. And it's not very tall though, so you shouldn't have an issue with blocking your TV or anything, unless your TV is mounted like right down to your table. But I don't think you have an issue with that. And if you look closely, you can actually see the speakers are hidden behind the front grille, just so you can get an idea of how many speakers there are. There's even some tweeters on the side that help bounce the sound off the ceiling for your Dolby Atmos and DTS:X. And as we look on the top of the soundbar here, there's some physical controls for turning it on, turning it off, volume control, that sort of thing. Now, if we take a look at the back of the soundbar, you get a little bit more details. So first, we have the spot where you plug in your power. Pretty self-explanatory, nothing crazy there. And then you've got another spot where you can plug in your optical cable, your USB thumb drive, your coaxial cable, and your auxiliary cable. Now, you probably won't use these too often, but you can use the USB port to upgrade your soundbar. So I would definitely, if you order one of these things, it's probably already been upgraded, but I would definitely check Nakamichi's website and make sure you don't have another firmware update to do. Just like most electronics, it's always good to keep them up to date. So next up, we've got a couple HDMI ports. So we have HDMI port 1 and HDMI port 4. So HDMI port 1 is for plugging into your TV, basically your connection between your TV and your soundbar. And then HDMI port 4 is an input for whatever device you want to use, like a PS4, Xbox, Blu-ray player, that sort of thing. And last but not least, you've got HDMI ports 2 and 3, which you can use to plug in 2 more devices, just like another PS4, Xbox, whatever you want to do. So here's the last speaker component of the sound system. So we have the two 8-inch subwoofers. Now, these things are pretty interesting. As I said, they're 8-inch subwoofers, so they're not huge by subwoofer standards, but they are pretty large. Like they're really tall. I'm not sure the actual height of them, but I'd probably say like 2 feet if I had to guess. Now, as I mentioned earlier, these things are connected wirelessly to the soundbar, which is super nice. So all you have to do is plug in your power cable from your subwoofer to the wall. And you also have one more cable that plugs in from your subwoofer to your rear speaker. Now, wirelessly connecting these rear subwoofers and speakers is a huge plus for me, because basically now I don't have to run the speaker wire along my wall or on the floor, and it just eliminates a huge mess, and it's super easy. So there you have it, guys. There's the unboxing. That's the whole setup. And just as a quick recap, this is the Nakamichi 7.2.4 surround sound system. It retails for about $1,000 and comes with a soundbar, 2 8-inch subwoofers, and 2 rear speakers. It also supports 4K HDR, Dolby Atmos, DTS:X, Dolby Vision, all that other good stuff, all the latest tech. And then best of all, the rear subwoofers are connected wirelessly to the soundbar, so you don't have to run cable from the front of your room to the back of the room, and your rear speakers just hook up to your subwoofers, which are typically right next to each other. So thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video, and make sure to be on the lookout for my full review video that's coming up in a few weeks. And if you're interested in checking out Nakamichi's line of products, definitely check out the link in the description. And again, thanks for watching, guys, and have a great day.